بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين اللهم صل على محمد وعلى محمد وعجل فرجهم. So today's maxim is named نفي السبيل قاعدة نفي السبيل. Nafi is the negation or the rejection or not to accept. Not to accept sabil. What is sabil? Sabil, it's a way over you. Someone controlling you. Someone having an authority over you. Someone controlling your life. Controlling your will. Controlling your direction. And that has been taken from the Quran. In Surah An-Nisa, chapter 4, God says, chapter 4, verse 141, God says, لَنْ يَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ سَبِيلًا. God will not grant the disbelievers a way over sabil, a way over the believers. He would not allow them to control the life or the lives of the believers. So what does that mean? I've been asked this question many times. That is it okay to work for someone who's non-Muslim? Is it okay to give myself, my energy, my talent, my services, my time, put it at the service of someone who's non-Muslim? Is it okay to work for the American government, for the British government, for the French government, for the American army? Is it okay to join the American army? Is it okay to work in a corporation that not only it's non-Islamic, but they monopolize, the business. They manipulate, the business. They play monopoly. They deal with usury. Is it okay or not? The answer is, number one, if you work for an army, any army, that is known as being aggressor, they have aggression against Muslims or non-Muslims, then you are not allowed. We give a general answer. So you take the application of it, It's not allowed to work for a corporation, for an army, for an entity, for a government, to help them to conduct or to behave in an aggressive way. For instance, to abuse other nations, abuse other people. We cannot. وَتَعَاوَنُوا, the Quran says, وَتَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْبِرِّ وَالتَّقْوَى وَلَا تَعَاوَنُوا عَلَى الْإِثْمِ وَالْعُدْوَانِ. Help each other, ta'awanu, on matters of piety and righteousness. Then you may have cooperation, but do not cooperate each other, do not help each other على الإثم, over committing sin, والعدوان, and aggression. So any entity, be it Muslim or non-Muslim, be it your country or other countries, if that entity intends to harm, to hurt, then you are not allowed to join it. This is number one. Number two, a Muslim is not allowed to work for any person or any incorporation or any government or any company where his working there is going to lead into humiliation. So the Muslim cannot work for non-Muslim if that entails dhillah, disgrace or humiliation. And that is taken from this maxim. Nafyu sabil. Nafyu sabil. So if the work leads into losing your dignity, losing your freedom, losing your value, that person is exploiting you, then you are not allowed to do so. Other than that, you can hire yourself to a non-Muslim company. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Non-Muslim government. You can work for them. You can work for them if you are working and it is based on honor, and you are maintaining your honor, maintaining your independence, maintaining your dignity, your value, your worth, your religious freedom, okay? Then even if that entity is non-Muslim, you may work for them. But you may not work if you lose one or all of these things. If you lose them, then you are not allowed to hire yourself to that, or lend yourself to that company or corporation. Now, this is, of course, it means don't work for the non-Muslims. وَلَنْ يَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ لِلْكَافِرِينَ, for the non-believers. The non-believers. Rejection of the authority of non-believers. الكافرين. So I explained this, Hamid. Oh, Hamid. Taken from the Quran, this maxim is called the maxim of Nafyu Sabil, the rejection of Sabil. Sabil is the control of the non-Muslims over Muslims. But then there is another question. Can I work for the American government, the French government, the British government, the German government? Can I work for them? Or all sorts of work is not allowed? No. If you work for them and you maintain your dignity, your religious freedom, your value, they are not disrespecting you, they are not exploiting you, they are not taking your freedom away from you, then you may work for them. There is no harm in that. Now there are two questions. How about, can we use this maxim and apply it to a government or a company which is Islamic? They say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah, Ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. But again, you lose your freedom, you lose your worth, you lose your dignity. You're going to be humiliated. Can you do that or not? Or this is only exclusively for it's about working for non-Muslims?
There was an example that we said one time where there was a person working for the Abbasid Empire, and even though it was a corrupt government, he was going to be able to do good to people outside of working for the corrupt government.
That's Dr. Ali, that's a different issue. That's working for a tyrant.
Right.
Here we are saying if you work for any government, but you're going to lose your worth, they're going to humiliate you, okay? They're going to control your life. They're going to say, listen, you cannot pray, you cannot fast. If you are a female, you don't wear hijab. You don't practice your religion. So you lose your freedom, your liberty, your value, freedom of expression. This is something else. Is it possible or not? Yes.
Is it this maxim that we use when they say, oh, you can no longer live in this country if you feel as a Muslim?
Exactly. Another aspect of it. If you live in a country where you cannot practice anymore, you are harassed, you are being disgraced, you are being threatened, your life, your family, your children, your business, your money. And there is no freedom of speech, no freedom of religion. It's like China, the Muslims in China, in their homeland. It's their country. They can't practice Islam. They are putting them in concentration camps. Yeah, they are putting them in camps where they are brainwashing them. They are doing rehabilitation, so-called rehabilitation, so they respect the Chinese communism, Chinese values, not Islamic values. So if this happens, let's say if this happens to us in America, to Muslims in America, in Europe, then would that be acceptable?
Well, the question is whether you have another choice, a better alternative or not.
Definitely there will be. Yeah, definitely there will be another country where it won't be a paradise for you, but less restrictive. Another example of France. France today, we had one of the ladies who used to be here and she moved to Paris. She came the other day, I saw her. And I asked her, she said, I don't have driver's license because I wear hijab and they don't accept picture on your driver's license or on your passport. They don't allow you to wear hijab. You have to give a picture, provide a picture without hijab. So I still don't have driver's license. In France.
It's okay. In Paris, it's okay. You have lots of subways. It's okay.
Yeah. So, or you can't work for the government. You can work for private companies, but not the government if you are wearing hijab. They are secular, against religious symbols. So can you work for such government if you are going to compromise your religious values? Can you work for such government? This is a question. Some scholars say no. If it really compromises your religious values, you can't practice, then why do you work for them? Don't work for them.
And this is not clean taqiyya either, right?
No, not taqiyya, of course. Why do you do taqiyya? Taqiyya, when you don't have an escape, you don't have a way out. You are stuck in one place, but if you are not, then it's not about taqiyya. They find out, if you let's say I'm not saying it's that extreme. No, in France it's not that extreme.
Right.
But suppose a government who says no prayers, you can't pray. Listen, you work for me, no religion. You have to be secular. Not secular, you have to be anti-religion. So is it allowed for you? Most scholars say no, you are losing your freedom. And you have choice of working other places or of going to other places. Now the question is, I asked this question, is this only regarding non-believers? They don't have an authority, a control over us? Or if there is a Muslim government, they are Muslim, but they are barbaric, authoritarian. You lose your respect. Let's say some Gulf countries, they have people who work, the labor force that works there from some poor countries like Bangladesh, Pakistan, India, whatever, Indonesia, and they mistreat them. They humiliate them. So is it possible, is it okay for such a person to go and work under these circumstances? Yes, you are making some living, but that is not a decent way of making a living. Today, I think in the past, they used to divide the world into two sections, Darul Harb and Darul Islam. If you go to the narrative of the past, the adabiyat, the narrative of Darul Harb and Darul Islam. Darul Islam is where the Muslims are the majority. Darul Harb are non-Muslim countries. Nowadays, we don't have that distinction anymore. Nowadays, we have Darul Goodness and Darul Evil. In Darul Goodness, sometimes there are Muslims, sometimes there are non-Muslims. Sometimes there are Muslim societies and sometimes non-Muslim societies, but they are part of Darul Goodness, the abode of goodness. On the abode of the evil, sometimes there are Muslim countries who are considered abode of the evil and mistreatment and a human rights abuse, and there are and some non-Muslims too. This is how the division of the world should be. Places where they respect human rights, you enjoy your freedom, you enjoy your liberty, you enjoy your religion, you enjoy your life, versus places where you are always persecuted. You have to follow that. Today there was an article in the New York Times, an opinion, of course, not an article, opinion, by Khalid Abul Fadl. Beautiful. How the Saudi government is using the podium of Masjid al-Haram and Masjid al-Nabi to promote Muhammad ibn Salman. And then he has a quotation of the Imam of the Masjid al-Haram, the Imam who leads the prayers, Abdurrahman al-Sudais, well known. How during the Friday prayers he was praising Muhammad ibn Salman, and he was saying this guy is divinely inspired. And then he has a quotation of the Prophet that Allah sends every 100 years, Allah sends someone who is a revival to revive the ummah. So now the revival is Muhammad ibn Salman. He's divinely inspired, this guy, and therefore do not disobey him, listen to him. Even if he kills Khashoggi, you have to listen to him and respect him. They are using Masjid al-Haram, the most sacred place on earth, which is supposed to be جعل الله الكعبة البيت الحرام قياما للناس, a place of worship, a place of understanding, a place where you respect your brain, okay? You respect your life. It's a disgrace. What sort of place is this? Is this Masjid al-Haram anymore? They are desecrating the place, defiling the place. There is no respect for Masjid al-Haram anymore. No respect for Masjid al-Nabi. These countries, in my opinion, though they say Islamic, but they act un-Islamically. Un-Islamically. So now the world has been divided into two sections. A place, some countries, where you can practice your religion. They respect the human rights. They respect the human beliefs. They don't interfere in your private life. They don't interfere in your doctrine, in the way you worship. And there are other places where you are under constant fear and persecution. You have to fear for your life. You have to fear for your business, your shop, your wife, your son. So, I said two things. Some people ask, can we join? I was asked just 2 days ago. A father said, my son's joining the army. What do you think? I said, listen, I'll give you a broad answer, general answer. If your son thinks that joining the army is going to help people and save people and protect people, let him join. If he thinks that he's joining the army, whether it's American army or any other army, is going to hurt people, then he shouldn't do that. So it's up to you. I have no experience about that. You have to investigate. Islam gives you a general answer, and you have to apply it to your situation. So if there is no aggression against others, you may join. You may work. But if there is aggression against others, you're going to be used as a tool to persecute others, to kill others, to harass others, you should not join. Second, how about yourself? Do you have your dignity or you lose your dignity? Because the Quran says, وَلِلَّهِ الْعِزَّةُ وَلِرَسُولِهِ وَلِلْمُؤْمِنِينَ. You have to be dignified. Now the degree differs. Some people would say, even if I work for Disneyland, I'm not going to be completely dignified. I'm going to lose sometimes my boss is going to yell at me, sometimes. No, your boss is going to yell at you because if you do things good, if you arrive on time, do your job, act professionally, he's not going to yell at you. But sometimes you are mistreated. Like the reports that speaks about Indian workers in Dubai, in the United Arab, they put every 40 people in one room. They cram 40 workers in one room, construction workers. They live in horrible conditions. They are treated like subhumans, almost like animals. The way they give them food, this is not, this is not dignity. You lose your dignity. You lose your value. Then Islam says, if you can afford, then don't work. Find somewhere else, another venue, another place. So, al-ma'na, nafyu sabil, the maxim of nafyu sabil, هو نفي سلطة الكافر على المسلم. It's the rejection of the authority, the control of the kafir, the non-believer, over the believer. وعليه كل عمل من المعاملات والعلاقات بين المسلمين والكفار. Every transactions and every relationships. معاملات, transactions. When you trade, when you do business. If doing business with this entity, with this corporation, is going to make you lose your freedom, your choice, or your dignity, then you are not allowed to do this type of transaction. والعلاقات, and relationships also. A relationship with this country. Such as what? Can you give me an example? When you have a relationship with a country, with a corporation, and you're going to be losing your freedom. You're going to be a subordinate, complete subordinate. You have no right for yes or no. You have to follow.
Well, it happened in the Philippines, right? They almost pulled out their people from Saudi Arabia or
Kuwait.
Or Kuwait, I mean.
Yeah, it happened. You lose your dignity, you lose your choice. You have to do. You have to execute what they tell you. Or, another example that we might face here in the West. Someone was asking me, in fact, this question. He's a salesperson. And they send him, to conventions, to, meetings, dinners. And he says, in every business dinner, they have to have wine. You cannot go to a business dinner where there is no wine. They all drink wine in business dinners. And this is part of my work. I have to be there. I'm a marketing person, salesperson. So.
But he's not drinking, right? Or
he is not drinking, but sometimes he has to buy the drink for them. He has to pay. And he has to sit on the same table. What do you think about this? He says, I can escape one or twice, but I can't keep escaping because this is my... So what do you think here?
Too have, even though you're not going to drink, but they still have available,
No, if you are the owner of the restaurant or you are just...
No, like for example, if you go to a cheesecake factory.
No, that's different. Cheesecake Factory, you can have a table for yourself, your friend, your family,
right,
where wine is not served there. Right. But when you sit with someone, 2 people, 3 people, and you are dining with them, and then either you buy them or they buy, but you are sitting with them on the same table. You are associating with them, not that you are sitting this direction or, you are with them, part of the party, the group. That's problematic. That is problematic.
What if you're not paying for it?
You are not paying, but the hadith says even sitting on a table, sharing the table with some people who are drinking. But this is very, 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 the very sharp point here. Being associated with them. Sometimes in some restaurants, you share the table is long. But you and your friend are sitting here, there are other couple who are sitting there. The table is the same table, but not same company. Not same company. That is not associating with them. So even if they drink, in the airplane sometimes. One time I was stuck in the middle seat. In my right side, an Iranian. On my left side, a Lebanese, mashallah, both are drinking the whole flight. The whole flight. Both Muslims, they enjoyed their drink. And I'm sitting there, and I fear this one will, it would touch, so split on me, and that one will, spell on me. So I was doing this and that, the whole. So, but this is, you have no choice. You cannot leave your seat. Where do you go? They don't put you in first class. So, yes.
Isn't it also that it looks bad if they know that you're a Muslim and then they see that there's alcohol there? People can assume things about you and not just you, but your religion.
In fact, in America, if they know you drink, it's not bad. It's good for you. They think you are progressive Muslim, open-minded. So, things that leads, when it comes to this maxim, things that leads into two things are not allowed. You are not allowed to work or to be part of a group or a company or an army or whatever. First of all, that does aggression, you should not be part of it. Second, you lose your dignity, brings you humility. Otherwise, if these two elements are not there, you may work for this army, this non-Muslim incorporation, this, I've seen many people here in the mosque, they tell me, Sayyid, I'm the only one who works on this, the only Muslim who works in this corporation. There is nothing wrong. If you are maintaining your dignity, your respect, your value, they are not demeaning you because you are Muslim, they don't do that, then there is no harm in that.
So even if the technology that you are working on will be used toward aggression.
If you know this specific task, this specific project that you are handling, it would be used. Definitely then you shouldn't. You shouldn't. But sometimes you don't know. Sometimes they use it in something good, sometimes they use it in aggression. So the madrak for this is chapter 4, 141, Surah An-Nisa. Surah An-Nisa, وَلَنْ يَجْعَلَ اللَّهُ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَلَى الْمُؤْمِنِينَ سَبِيلًا. God will not grant to the non-believers a way over, a control over the believers. In Iran, they love this one. They speak about it. For 40 years, they speak about this. Yeah. كما لا يجوز للمسلم إجارة نفسه للكافر. Ijara means when you hire yourself to him. If بحيث يكون الكافر مسلطا على المسلم. مسلط, controlling his life. مسلط. But if you work for a kafir who's known, he says, I want you to do these things for me, then go home. Then believe in God, in Buddha, in Moses, I don't care. I care about your professionalism, your job. He doesn't care who you are. He doesn't even ask about your religious identity. But being subordinate is the problem. Now, in Arabic there is as-sabilu ila was-sabilu ala. As-sabil ila. As-sabil ala. What is the difference between them? As-sabil ila.
Ila means towards. The first one is towards.
So,
Ala means over.
so when you put it with sabil, what it means?
The way to that direction.
Okay. And access to. So a non-believer can have an access to the Muslim. No problem with that. This one, no problem. But this one, there is a problem. This one means a control over. A control over. This is a control over. So a non-Muslim, a non-believer, he can have sabil to the Muslim and access to the Muslim. He can utilizes his services. A Muslim is a taxi driver. Go to New York City, mashallah. All the cab drivers are Muslims, Pakistanis. They are taking those CEOs and, also to the airport, to the restaurant. It's okay. But for the non-believer to has a control, as-sabilu ala, this is problematic. This is problematic. Then they use another, so the ayah, وَلَنْ يَجْعَلَ اللَّهِ لِلْكَافِرِينَ عَلَى الْمُسْلِمِينَ سَبِيلًا. This is one. The second they use, the second madrak and evidence, so this is the first evidence, the ayah in 4, Surah An-Nisa 141. The second, they use, jurists use the hadith of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, which says, Al-Islamu ya'lu wa la yu'la alayh. Islam should be what? Ya'lu, should be supreme. And nobody should surpass Islam. And nothing or no one should surpass Islam. So the supremacy for Islam, always, in relationships, supremacy for Islam, exactly the way Saudi Arabia is dealing with America, supremacy for Islam. They are the supreme, the Saudis and the Emiratis and the Arab countries, mashallah, they are always the winners. Always they are the winners. But there is a problem with this hadith. This hadith is being cited by many jurists as an evidence to this maxim that, see, Islam, the Prophet says Islam always has to be at the top. Okay? Not at the bottom, at the top. So this means that if you feel somewhere you are at the bottom, then you should not accept that. Islam has to be number one, always. This is what they are using it to support this qaida, this maxim. But there is a problem in this hadith. Where is the problem? Where do you see the problem? This hadith, we cannot use it precisely for this maxim. It doesn't match. There is somewhere a divergence.
Has to do with belief, not necessarily with law.
Say some more, elaborate.
So it's saying that there should be no other religion that's superior to Islam. Islam is it's the peak of belief and
So this is what it says. It doesn't say that the Muslims have to be the supreme. It says Islam, al-Islamu ya'lu. Not the Muslims ya'lu. The Muslims are always, alhamdulillah, behind, always.
Kind of like a dictator, like an Islamic leader can use this to say, that's why you should listen to me.
Yeah. So the Prophet says Islam ya'lu, the principles of Islam, because they are righteous principles. The Quran should be always. He didn't say the Muslims should be at the top. Yes, if they work hard, let them be at the top. But if they are lazy, you cannot put them at the top. You cannot expect them to be at the top. So this hadith cannot be used exactly. It's not very precise. It doesn't fit this maxim here. Because sometimes, yes, Islam is at the top. I respect the Quran, but I don't respect people who abuse the Quran. Or they speak on behalf of the Quran, Where can you find people speak about the Quran more than the Wahhabis? They memorize it, they carry it, they print it, they give it to you as a gift. But at the same time, they are the most people who violate the Quran and disrespect the Quran. See what they did to this man inside a consulate. Not only they cut him into pieces, his body vanished. Do you know that what they did to his body? No more body. Vanished. They brought 18 people from Saudi Arabia, whole team. Today, it was showing. Today the Turks, they released the pictures of the X-ray. Did you see it? The saw and all these things that they brought with them from Riyadh. To cut one man
They had a look-alike too. They had a guy dressed up in his clothes as the name slave. I mean, it was a big plan.
Oh, yeah.
And this is a country that speaks on behalf of God. And their constitution is the Quran. And their king is Khadim al-Haramain al-Sharifain. He's the custodian of. See?
It's funny they're going to get away with it. I mean, like it's.
They will, believe me. When you have such an idiot here defending them, definitely they're going to get away with it. Definitely.
Sayyid, can you use as evidence for this can you use, I mean, it's kind of weak, but can you use the Quranic ayah that talks about that you cannot be, like Muslims can't be the wali of non-Muslims?
The non-Muslims.
Yeah. Can you use that as evidence, or is that?
Yeah.
Because it doesn't really apply to, because apparently you can't be the wali of.
لا يتخذ المؤمنين الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين.
Yeah.
لا يتخذ المؤمنون الكافرين أولياء من دون المؤمنين. Do not take the non-believers as your guardians, as your, not necessarily guardians, your affiliates, your close friends. Don't do that. Yes, we can use this. But this one is different. What, do you see the difference? Where is the difference in this one?
This one's Muslims are at the top.
The ayah that we just recited is لا يتخذ, do not take them as a friend, as a boss, as a leader, as a guardian. But this one it says, if he's going to have control over you, you should not allow that. Not that you don't work for him, no. But if working for him is considered that you are his subordinate and you lose your choice, you lose your freedom, you lose your dignity, then you should not do that. So there is a difference between them. There is some difference, but they are, generally you can, yeah.
Say, there was this hadith, who was it from, the hadith?
The Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Yes, yeah. This is the Prophet. Of course, this is also the hadith is mursal, by the way. This hadith is mursal. What does mursal mean? What does mursal mean, my friends? It doesn't have a complete chain of narrators. One or two people on the chain of narrators are missing. So this hadith, whenever the hadith becomes mursal, loses its credibility.
Yeah, that's what I meant.
We don't throw it away completely, but it's not that powerful. It's not that powerful. Okay, let's conclude with one more thing here in relation to this maxim. And that is the issue of marriage. Here comes the issue of marriage.
Related to the same
Yes,
concept?
yeah. Jurists extract a point here from this maxim. They say that a Muslim father should not give his Muslim daughter to a non-believer, a kafir, who is fitri, murtad, fitri and milli, and I'm going to explain, or a kafir. This is number one, this is number two. Kafir, you cannot give your daughter to a kafir. in marriage. Why? Because this is taslit. He's controlling her life. That is in the past, but is it considered control in America here when they love each other and they have same bank account and both of them are professionals working together, both of them have a say? In the past, yes, marriage was definitely a control. The husband controls his wife from A to Z, everything in her in the past. But is the same idea of marriage exist here in the West?
The idea does not exist, but in practice still it holds true.
That he's
Meaning,
controlling,
It's
taslit,
not necessarily control, but let's say
dominance.
Men have more control over life as a whole, even in this society. Even professional women.
Yeah.
They get pregnant, they stay home, and they
Yeah.
become dependent over the husband.
And this is why the daughter of Donald Trump, she had to convert to Judaism. When she married a Jewish husband, she had also to convert. This means that even though she's powerful, she's rich, her father was a tycoon, he had money, but still she has to follow the husband. So there is, yes, I agree, there is maybe not control, but there is some sort of dominance. Still the husbands, they enjoy this leverage. And he should not give her to a kafir, murtad, a revert. Murtad is a revert, يعني he was Muslim, then he left Islam. Whether he's fitri or milli. What does it mean, fitri and milli?
Fitri is when you're born as a Muslim, is it?
Yes. Fitri, he was born Muslim from a Muslim, at least one of them should be Muslim. But then he says, no, I'm not Muslim anymore. Milli, it means that he was non-Muslim, he became Muslim and then he left Islam. This is milli.
I'm sorry, so what was Millie again?
Milli, he was non-Muslim, he converted to Islam and then he reverted back.
Actually, I met a person that did that.
Wow, many, mashallah, many. One day I have a lady here, she became Muslim and we did the marriage for her. After 2 months I received the declaration of Islam and she put a note on it that keep it to yourself, Imam. This is, yeah.
For the right reason.
She returned the declaration of Islam. So it happens, we have seen this. So they say that these things also are related to this maxim. Because there is some sort of dominance in marriage and control, then this is why a Muslim father should not give his daughter to those people. وصلى الله وسلم على سيدنا محمد وأهل بيته الطيبين الطاهرين.